Hey everybody, and welcome back to Wiki Stay Tuned. I'm Marvin. I'm here with Dan and Ricardo again. Hey guys, what's up?
Hello, this is Ricardo.
Hello,
Speaking
and
on behalf of myself.
yeah,
This here be another one of them we did stay tunes.
yeah, we did stay tuned to the penguin.
So, how long since we did the podcast? How
It's
many
been
episodes were we in? Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure. I think it might have been episode 6 or 5, the most recent at the recording time of the last one.
Yeah, I think I had
Okay, just to be clear. So
yeah.
when we recorded last time,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
like that Sunday, episode 6 aired, right? We recorded
Yeah,
during the week.
but
on Sunday.
I personally had made sure to not watch past episode 1 because
Yeah,
I
just
didn't
to
want it
recap
to.
for listeners at home, Ricardo was the only one who had seen past episode 1 in the last recording.
Yeah. So now we've seen the whole thing.
Yeah,
And-
all 8 episodes of it.
Yeah, which apparently now, what's his name, Colin Farrell wants to come back and do more of, even though he was like, oh, the makeup's really tough, which I get. I mean, that's a
Yes.
fucking process.
But it's
Yes.
funny because I think being away from it, like think about it, like how many episodes was it? Like 9, 10?
It was 8. It was
8.
8, yeah.
Like when he did the electronic press kits, which is the interviews and stuff.
Yeah, the EPK.
It was it's usually while they're still like it's like the last day on set or like around that time.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a fair point.
you're just fucking tired and you're like, I just want to fucking leave this place and not see this place again.
Press junkets are the worst.
Yeah,
It is like Ricardo and I worked in the realm of EPK for quite a while, and it is, you are receiving the talent when they're at their most worn out and ragged, and they have to present a happy face for your interviews, for your questions that you have asked, and many people have asked the same question like 20 times before.
And that's when you start getting like the weird off the cuff responses when it's just two people next to a
Yeah.
poster on a black background with chairs.
Yeah, and it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So some people know how to do it. Like they make a game out of it and like
Mhm.
they
Yeah, that's true.
If
Some fare
you-
better than others.
yeah, if you're good at entertaining yourself,
yeah.
you're gonna do well. You know what I mean?
I think the best version
yeah.
I've seen of this is when I watched the Hot Fuzz includes a lot of special features, one of which is literally just them going around showing the movie, right? Which is their press tour.
Mhm.
And it's Edgar Wright, oh my god, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. They're all slowly going insane. And that is the entire documentary where they're just slowly being like, yup, show the movie again. It's Nick Frost's birthday. We're eating cake. We didn't know what to do with it, so we're just gonna dump it in the toilet.
Yeah.
This interview is just done in a conference room over the phone, so we're gonna start
Yeah.
stripping our clothes off.
Oh wait, now I remember
It's
that.
like they just start going insane.
Oh, I
because-
thought you were going to describe like the best examples you've seen of the interviewee like faring okay throughout the process, as opposed to
oh
a documentary featurette about the process.
yeah. It was sort of just like a general like. They were going insane, and
Anyone would or should.
yeah, anyone who is normal and not built for this.
Yeah, honestly.
But anyway, it's cool that Colin Farrell wants to come back. I mean, given how it ended, poor Victor can't come back. But
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Victor. It's not my fault.
I remember everyone was like, "Oh, is he like
fault.
really? Is he gonna be Zaz? Is he gonna be like some sort of weird Mr. Freak?" No, he's just dead. He's just
I'm
fucking-
glad he didn't turn out to be a goddamn villain.
Yeah, he's just dead. Like, it's wow.
Yeah, that
It
did take
turned.
a turn.
I mean, like
Um,
halfway through that conversation, I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna fucking kill him!" Isn't he?
yeah.
Because it's too happy.
I felt like ever since the first episode, I knew he was going to kill him. I just didn't know when.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
I thought he was going to take him in kind of as like brother surrogate or like mom surrogate
I
or
think
something.
that was at least for me. And I wish I would have. I wish I would have said this in the first episode, the pilot episode, when we recorded the.
That would have been spoilers, Ricardo.
Yeah, but no. I feel like that in order for like his arc to kind of make sense and like he has to, like he can't end up where we're like, oh, we like him and I'm glad he has a friend. No, like he's a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like he needs to end up that way.
Yeah, and it's just like, to be fair, the show kind of told us the whole time. Every episode has at least one scene where it's saying, remember, the Penguin is actually a fucking evil guy.
Remember, he's a piece of shit.
Remember, you kind of rooting for him, but remember, he's actually evil. Remember, please, he killed his own brothers in the rain. Remember, he's an evil man, please.
I feel like that reveal, though, is like the point in the show that officially like crosses a line for most viewers.
Yes, because it's not just that he is like doing evil shit to survive. That is, he's a sociopath. Right. Like
which he always was. I mean,
right.
Like in the source material and stuff.
Yeah, but now it's like cemented. It's like, he's not, because remember how I had originally said, this reminds me of like The Sopranos, right? And I think what it ended up being is that it's kind of like The Sopranos versus the Corleones from The Godfather, except they're both complete sociopaths. Like they are not like normal people running crime businesses. These are like absolute monsters.
What normal people run crime businesses?
To be fair, Tony Soprano was also a piece of shit, you know?
Right, but I don't think to the point where he would just drown family members as a child.
Yes.
As a child.
I mean, very damn close, dude.
Maybe. I mean, it's just like and the level of complete denial about everything, and the reveal of it being a complete Oedipal complex of he truly, honestly, probably just wants to fuck his mom. Like
probably, yeah.
You know, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me just recap the series really quick, because there is a way to recap it really quick.
We came in hot.
Yes, because basically what it is it's a story of 3 characters. So let's do the side-ish characters first, even though they're kind of the main characters too. So one is Victor. Victor is someone who, if anyone remembers the ending of The Batman, the Riddler exploded the seawalls, basically the levees of Batman Gothamverse, Gotham Town, Gotham City, and that flooded the poor neighborhoods of Gotham, including Crown Point, which is where Victor grew up, and his entire family died. And as a result, he is now trying to survive in the aftermath of that. Part of that is that he gets caught up in petty crimes, which then leads him to meet the Penguin, Oz Cobb, which then makes him decide that he needs to make a choice. Is he going to pursue a more ambitious life of crime, or is he going to run away with his girlfriend to California and start a new life? He chooses the life of crime because he is kind of a romantic. He kind of believes in Oz's vision about turning Crown Point around, and he goes all in to his detriment, because at the end, Oz realizes he has seen too much and he kills Victor. And too much in an emotional sense. Like, not too much that he knows too much, but too much in that he has seen him with his mom too much.
I don't think that's why he killed him.
You don't think that's why he killed him?
No, 100%.
Why do you think he killed him?
Because it's like heat. He saw that his mother compromised him emotionally. He made choices that he wouldn't have made because of his mom.
Yeah, that too. That's actually true too. Yeah.
So I think it was all like, well, now you're my only family. Even Victor says, like, I'm basically your only family now. We got to stay together.
Yeah. That's true.
That's not like, he learned his lesson, which is like, you can't have attachments if you want to make it how I want to make it.
Yeah. Right. So he'll no longer have a way to be compromised. So that's why he does it. The other is Sofia Falcone, who eventually becomes Sofia Gigante, or Gigante.
Italians don't silence the G's, I don't think.
Basically, daughter of
Carmine.
Carmine Falcone was supposed to be the heir apparent, but she discovered that Carmine strangled her mom, his wife, and many women. In fact, he is the hangman. But she is framed for it, sent to Arkham.
Right, and he is a hangman because he would always frame it as the committing suicide via hanging.
Yes, and I mean, given the circumstances of being in Arkham and what we see goes on in there, she understandably goes a little off her rocker. But after Carmine dies,
say, like, his dad's probably a serial killer.
Oh yeah, no, he's the hangman. Carmine Falcone is a serial killer.
Yeah.
He's absolutely a serial killer.
Very explicitly,
he kills in the exact same way every time, and it does it serially. But then, so she's freed, And basically, her motivation at first is to find out who killed Alberto Falcone. That's actually resolved really quickly. She realizes it's Oz really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then it becomes the Sophia versus Oz show, where Sophia revealed that there had been this weird ass drug being created from the sweat of mushrooms in Arkham.
Right.
It's the nitroglycerin of drugs, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't quite explode you.
Yeah,
well, it explodes your mind.
I guess.
So they decide to sell it as a party drug called Bliss. It does really well, but then all sorts of stuff happens where there's a lot of repositioning because she finds out Alberto was killed by him, combined with the fact that he had been a penguin was conspiring with the Maronis to like steal all of this out from underneath her.
Right.
And basically, it turns out that one of the psychiatrists in Arkham sympathized with her and actually like kind of had a perverse sexual desire for her, which they both...
He's just being shades from Luke Cage again.
That's the thing. He's the worst actor in the show, Theo Rossi. He doesn't know how to act like anything else other than the same character over and over, even when he's a psychiatrist.
He's just the lady chasing henchman.
Yeah, he's easily the worst actor in the show. But he's there, and it's a whole thing where she eventually figures out, actually, I don't really even care about all this crime shit. I just want to be left alone. But before she wants to be left alone, she wants revenge against Oz. So she does this whole thing where she kidnaps Oz's mom because she discovers, or he has a mom, because that was a secret.
Or that she's still alive.
Yeah, that she's still alive. There's a whole bunch of revelations.
Oh, come on, Mom.
Come on, Ma. And then eventually...
Come on, Victor, take care of my mom.
Basically, it leads to a whole thing where she gets framed again for another crime. The crime of... she did explode Crown Point, the secret drug lab underneath, but they frame it as if she was doing it because of a gang war against Sal Maroni, and she gets thrown back in Arkham. And it happens.
Well, they also say like, oh, she can't stop killing because she's the hangman. See?
Yeah. So that's sort of stuck with her. And then Penguin. Wow. So Penguin actually turns out to be Oedipus. I did not really see that coming, to be honest. I thought it was going to be more of like he has like this like mommy boy relationship. But by the end, it's very clear it goes much further than that. Basically, Penguin is there's a story of a boy trying to earn the love of his mom his entire life. And he does it by trying to do it through crime because he's inspired by the local neighborhood mafioso who seems to have an eye on everybody. So...
Well, yes and no. I would say...
It has specific history with mom.
Yeah, I would say it's inspired by his mother. 100%.
But the crime aspect.
Okay, it's inspired by his mother. This is interesting because... Basically, what's the gangster's name?
Rex Calabrese.
Yeah, Rex. I remember it was Rex. Yeah.
So Rex says there's like three options we can do with this kid when they find out that he killed his kids.
So for the context of this, his mom has known all along that Oz left his brothers to drown in the rain in the sewers. So she discovered the truth.
She discovers it like a week or days after, right?
Yeah, very quickly.
Very shortly after.
And keeps it a secret from Oz.
And Rex could be one of their fathers, either Oz or one of the brothers. It's unclear, but it could be.
Yeah, they do heavily imply that he has...
They heavily imply. And so Rex gives her like three choices, right? He's like, basically either I kill him for you, one. Mm-hmm. Two, I take him and like I make him, he's like, people like that become like really good gangsters, basically, right? Because they're like,
he can be our Joe Pesci from Goodfellas.
Yeah. So she's like, either I take him or you like basically aim him to what you want. You know what I mean? You take that drive and aim it somewhere.
That's true.
And she does. She takes him to a club to go dancing, and it looks like she's gonna fucking have Rex snuff him out, her own son.
Mm-hmm. And that is her intent at first.
Yeah. Totally. But then she kind of like says basically like, give me the world. And like, like I'll forget about this. He didn't say that, but like to the audience, it says that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like maybe the first major crucial, like Oz talking his way into something of his life.
Yes.
where
totally,
he like
totally.
kind of butters her up and says like, I see you like others don't see you, Ma. Like I can see all the little subtle things about you that other people don't notice, et cetera, et cetera. And she
Which is
seems
creepy.
to, yes, very creepy.
Yeah.
But she does like seem to, something about that resonates with her, and she decides to go against the plan to have Rex kill Oz, and instead decides to start aiming Oz toward the, give me a better life, please.
Yeah. And
do it
and
for me. Do it for Ma.
The kid's dad isn't around, and we don't know if Rex is one of their dads. It's very unclear.
Yeah, and then it sort of culminates in this thing where because Sophia forced them together at the same nightclub to confront each other with the truth at Monroe's, his mom ends up having a stroke because she's so stressed out. She already has what's it called, Lewy body disease. So that's already affected her brain a lot. And what I found kind of funny about that scene is that Penguin, okay, like they show that he's fucking strong the whole show, but in that scene, he literally just tears himself out of his chair.
Yeah.
Like he's so fucking strong. Like,
it was a bit of a superhuman adrenaline.
Okay,
and it's like baby.
And it's like a constant point of like Sophia. I don't know if it's advertent or not, or like on purpose or not, but it shows like she's constantly not that great at crime. Like every time she tries to do like a big crime thing, it kind of fails a little. It kind of backfires. Like her whole thing of like trying to tie up Oz, it failed. The explosion was probably her greatest triumph, but other than that, like a lot of the things sort of don't work out the way she really wants to.
They consistently sell her as threatening, but they don't. But her plans don't always work.
Yeah, I mean, like they'll work, but they'll have like these like for example, the big point we missed that everyone was talking about when it happened, when she wipes out her own family with the gas leak.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty and then that's like it's a huge point. But then
but to be fair, like. I don't want to say it was deserved, but like it kind of was. So her dad framed her basically. For the killings he was doing, he framed her,
and everyone else betrayed her by writing signed statements.
We should have said spoiler alert at the beginning of this.
It's a full series recap. It's gotta be. They gotta know.
So
I mean, you can put in the title of the
and so his dad framed her for the killings he was doing, and then basically that was her revenge because no one ever spoke out. They knew.
In fact, they contributed evidence to keep her in Arkham.
They
all betrayed her.
Yeah, totally.
They all fell in line behind her dad.
Yeah. So she is more of like a less focused force of nature, whereas Oz is very focused. Like every time Oz comes up with a plan on the spot, it seems to come into play correctly. It's just
it's probably worth pointing out that Oz also had a direct hand in getting Sophia into Arkham in the first place by ratting her out.
Yes, because she went to go meet with a reporter who was reporting on the Hangman murders.
Yeah,
and that's how Sophia found out about her mother's death or mother's murder. And that's when she started asking questions to Dad, and that's why she got shipped off to Arkham.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing with Sophia, and and at the end, she just wanted to leave. She just wanted to fly away to, I'm assuming Italy, because that's what the fuck
kept saying Sicily.
Yeah, so just head away. But then at the end, the scene that kind of clinched this as like this is an amazing series for me was okay. So he had always talked about putting his mom in a penthouse, right? So now his mom, who's had a stroke and is brain dead in a coma, questionably, maybe is in a penthouse.
They show her crying, tears streaming down her cheek, as though it might mean something.
Yeah, but then Oz, willfully misinterprets it as, I know, it's everything you ever wanted,
Right.
And but then it's crazy because the reveal at the end where what's his lady friend's name? Eve. She has looked like his mom the whole time. I just did not realize until she put on the dress.
Yeah.
Once she put on the dress, I was like, oh shit. This was actually the point the whole time. And I did not realize. And he does the creepy speech of calling her mom. And clearly she's done this before because she reciprocates exactly with no hesitation. Like when he calls her ma over and over again. you're proud of me. She's like, she's practiced at it.
If you look back when what's her name, Sophia,
Yeah,
goes to see his
yes, there's an amazing
sex worker
scene where
friend.
Eve and Sophia meet up, and then to try to find information on where Oz is hiding.
She basically says like, oh, we have a different kind of relationship, but she never says what kind.
Yeah,
and that you realize like, oh, that's why it was a different.
Yeah, it was never like a fucking relation, or maybe it is too.
It is, but
yeah,
not the way you think.
Yeah, and it's and all of it is because like now Oz is in control of the entire criminal underworld because through a crazy coup Victor managed to instigate. He managed to turn every deputy against every gang leader and have them all assassinated simultaneously, and now Oz is basically in control. And it's even in City Hall where he has the pocket of one of the councilmen, and it's even visually implied that City Hall is the Court of Owls because you have the shot of him in the court in the actual city council room, and all of the curtains are hung as if, and they're kind of like owl shaped. And you're like, oh shit.
And there's a little owl statuettes. If you look at the scene, there's little owl statuettes.
Yeah. So you're like,
I wasn't noticing that in the when I was watching.
Yeah, so you're like, this is very blatantly Court of Owls. And Oz is kind of now a member of the Court of Owls. And that's kind of what he implied by saying, I'd like to know some of your bigger friends,
well, yeah, not that he is now a member, but he is getting to rub elbows with them now.
So yeah. I'm going to say it now just to see if I get it right. I think he's going to become like governor or like the mayor. Like
he's going to be the mayor over Real.
It's kind of it's going to be kind of like Batman 2, Batman Returns.
Okay,
I mean, for mayor.
That could be. I mean, that's the thing is that like we're not 100% sure how they want to lead this show into
Batman
the
2.
next movie, right? That's kind of what they're sort of they said they're not going to do anything. Like this is supposed to be the setup for Batman 2 specifically. And I know like you had been saying, Ricardo, that some people think it's Mr. Freeze, but I don't think it's Mr. Freeze at all. I think that would be a little weird too, considering that's such an outlandish superpower.
I think any villain you see is not going to be like the ones you've seen before. Like kind of
that's true.
It's kind of like
Riddler was barely recognizable.
Yeah, Riddler was barely Riddler. He was the Zodiac killer. You know what I mean? Basically.
Yeah, but there had been versions of Riddler who was just, and you can turn that kind of character into a serial killer.
But I think just like Nolan kind of like changed things of like how you saw things, and more towards the realistic, but also like just more grounded in reality.
Right.
Well, even
I think he's doing it more. He's doing it like in a more drastic way. Matt
I happened to hear that even within this show, there was depictions of a villain who was, because Bliss apparently was an actual comic book drug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That had like worse effects than just being a party thing. And the creator of it, like, I think it actually mutated or transformed him into something like that. But it was very comic booky instead. But they sterilize it and ground it to reality in this version of the show.
It's just, I think by the time I'd finished watching that last episode, I was like, I kind of can't believe that this ended up being one of my favorite shows in a long time. Like, I would not have thought
that's
the
Penguin.
Praise. Yeah, because it's like it's one of those things where I'm trying to, I can't really find any like real fault with it. It's like a really just well-made machine of a show.
It's pretty
the only
tight.
the only thing I can think of is that like, why would Carmine not just kill his daughter? Why would he go through this weird roundabout thing of getting him to Arkham and all that? But that's because it's for the function of creating a character, right? So you can kind of overlook that to some degree, where it's just like maybe he couldn't bear to kill his daughter, blah, blah, blah. And it's this whole thing. But other than that, like the show in general, I'm just like, the performances are quite good. The guy who plays Victor is quite good, especially but towards the end when he's like sort of like rallying everyone and getting everything together. And yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those shows where I was just like, I am kind of shocked. I started watching only out of recommendation by Ricardo. And I was like,
because of the show, basically, because of this show.
Yeah. And you were kind of like, this is really good. You should watch it. And I was like, okay. It's
but Ricardo says that about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's just Batman. Like how amazing could it really be? And it's like,
well,
really?
The thing is, it's not about Batman at all.
Yeah,
like, this isn't a Batman show in the slightest.
Yeah.
That's funny. The reviews, the viewer reviews I see for it, the main criticism is, where was Batman? Why was it just a bat signal at the end? I'm like, shut the fuck up. Who cares?
Yeah, that was the best part of it, to be honest. That like Batman never showed up. They just gave you the teaser of the bat signal at the end. And another thing was that they showed you in the map. Gotham's huge.
Oh, it's gigantic. This is like Arkham Knight size Gotham City.
Yeah.
Like where they have multiple bridges and all this shit. Like there's all sorts of shit going on.
Yeah. And a couple things with Batman is one, I noticed there's a lot of scenes during the day. So like Batman's not around during the day, really, you know?
Sure.
Right.
He's sleeping, you know? He's got to take a little napping nap. And two, so when the show started, it was literally like the end of Batman. So like
right,
they're still trying to get the flood water out. They're trying to reconstruct. There's a lot of things happening. There may be a part in Batman 2 where he's not even Batman. He's just Bruce Wayne. Because at the end of Batman, he realizes like, oh, vengeance is not, you know, like it's not the way. There's other ways to fight this, and one of the ways is Bruce Wayne. You know, and I think that's why that's one of the reasons I think it was called the Batman. You know, the Batman was because it was all the Batman. There's basically no Bruce Wayne in the Batman, the first one. And I think we may see more Bruce Wayne in part 2, you know?
Do you think the Batman 2 could begin with like, kind of like how Dark Knight Rises began, where he hasn't been Batman for a hot minute? He's only been Bruce Wayne and just doing stuff.
Could be that he's just concentrating on like, hey, I could change the city with my money instead of with my fists, you know?
And then Gordon put up the signals like, we really need Batman right now. Actually, there've been explosions and shit. We need to figure this out.
I'm not sure that the ending of I'm not sure I took that same message from the ending of the Batman when I saw it. Like, I didn't get the sense that he was gearing up to, you know, drastically scale down his Batman activities.
I don't think he was drastically going to scale down, but I'm just saying like what I got out of it was that he realized like, no, vengeance. First of all, that vengeance is not the way. That he literally is mentally ill. First of all, and but most of all, that's not his only weapon in his arsenal. That Bruce Wayne is also a weapon that he could use against crime. And against corruption.
Like he turns to hope as like a new goal.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just everything about it, other than Theo Rossi, every actor.
You came in wanting to hate it, didn't you? Don't you feel like?
No, I didn't come in. I came in with zero ideas about it.
Okay,
actually,
I came in wanting it to justify its existence.
That's I think that's similar. Where I was like, do we need a show about the Penguin?
Which, you know, honestly is at a disadvantage. Like, let's be real.
I think that's part of why I'm enthralled by it, is that like it started at such like a no one wants this like point, and honestly is probably the best thing DC has made ever.
Yeah, and I think the only reason why it's able to do that is because of how removed it is from the movie.
It's
like the fact that it's so separate from the movie is like a blessing for the show, because I'm not sure how I can, like, even though they are so clearly set within the same universe, it feels like the Penguin grounds the Batman's universe so much more than the movie did in reality.
Yeah. 100%.
That it feels like Batman 2 will feel absurd and cartoony.
I mean, like,
by comparison, whenever it shows up.
I mean, one thing I remember, I haven't still. For the audience, I still have not seen the Batman, but one thing I remember from the trailers is that they have that one shot of Batman going down a dark hallway and people just firing bullets at him and they just bounce right off of his armor. And I'm like, okay, so he has very advanced technology, because that's like, you know,
he does.
So
like, there's no like contact lenses recording everything you see in the Penguin.
Yeah, shit like that, where I'm like, okay, but Penguin.
That's what I love so much about the show, is that like you're seeing the other side of Gotham, like the people that don't have money. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that makes for an interesting fight at the end. Meaning like that you're fighting this dude who has all the unlimited technology in the world and unlimited money is fighting people that like barely have fucking guns.
Do you think
just a bunch of mushrooms in old fucking train stations?
Yeah. Do you think they tried to mandate that the Penguin had to be evil and not like likable? Because if he's too likable, then when he comes up in the Batman 2, they'll be like, Batman, don't beat him up too bad.
I'm assuming that showing that he was that evil is part of the point.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like part of the edge of this show. It's like, as much as you grow to like this guy, remember
it was your
a
fault
fucking
for
monster.
falling for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to compare it to, because one of my other favorite shows of all time is Breaking Bad. And does Ricardo care about Breaking Bad spoilers at the end?
I know about spoilers. I know.
Do you know
spoilers.
How? Okay. I'm not going to be super specific, but basically,
for the audiences, we're going to give some spoilers for Breaking Bad if you haven't seen it. FYI.
Yeah. Well, it's just going to be very general, because it's basically Breaking Bad ends so well and cleanly that
it's
Walter,
just he's Breaking Bad. I mean, meaning like he was a good person and he went totally bad and without redemption, right? I assume.
Well, the thing is, so the guy Vince Gilligan, who's the showrunner for Breaking Bad, said he wanted to turn Mr. Chips into Scarface, right? That's what he always says. Yeah. But kind of the conceit of the ending is that Walter White admits to a character, hey, I've actually always been an evil person. It's just life never let me fully loose. And when I had cancer, suddenly I was free to do what I wanted. And that's kind of what the conceit of it was. But then the show ends so cleanly that at the end, you kind of have still rooted for him. You know what I mean? Like Walter White has been this objectively evil, awful person. But by the end, he's still kind of badass. He's still kind of really cool. And
in his final moments, he took some, meager measures to like make amends for what he's done.
Right. Very meager, but something.
Very, very meager. But he's like doing something.
Yeah. But he has otherwise caused crimes that's been large enough to affect multiple states at once. So, but whereas the Penguin actually kind of does the same thing. It starts out with him as he's a criminal, but he starts out he gives that whole speech to Alberto, right? Alberto makes fun of his. No, he gives a speech to Alberto at the very beginning
about his Rex.
Yeah, about his dream. Like he wants to be the well-liked neighborhood gangster.
Well, he doesn't give the speech about himself. He projects it onto Alberto.
Yeah, but Alberto realizes that's his dream. Yeah. But that makes you sympathize with him right at the beginning. Makes you go, oh, Penguin.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's he's a schmuck. He's working in crime, but he has these aspirations of wanting to be like a gangster community leader. And then the show slowly breaks that down. Keeps going, no, he's really evil though. He's really evil. And I think it ends on the exact right note at the end where, oh, he is not redeemable. He did not get the little bit of extra badass moment at the end. It is just, he is just.
I like that. I like that about the show.
Yeah, and I think in that respect,
unlike Walter, he does crucially not admit to anyone that he did it for him.
Yeah, and I think that is actually crucially a better ending for that type of character than it was for Walt. To be honest, Walt,
for Penguin, you don't want Penguin to be a good guy. He's got to be a bad guy. He's Penguin.
Yeah, and I think in that case, it like accomplished the goal of the show really efficiently. Whereas I think with Breaking Bad, I think in the mainstream, there's always this conception of, Walt's such a badass. Walt is super cool, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's always like a misread of the Walter White character, because Walter White is like the pathetic genius who is barely getting by every time. And everyone always points to the speech he gives to Skylar is like, I am the danger. I am the one who knocks. But the whole point of that scene is that he's showboating. He is like puffing himself up, like he would say, like a blowfish, to like pretend he's bigger than he really is.
Mm-hmm.
But that myth is carried over to a lot of viewers. Like a lot of viewers think, yeah, he is cool. He is really badass. And the ending of Breaking Bad like kind of supports that myth of him being like super awesome, super cool, when he's super evil and should not be admired. Whereas Penguin has no qualms about that. No, he is definitely evil.
Well, what I like about it is that it shows like a very real, I feel like, depiction of like human hypocrisy. It is very, very believable to me to imagine that Penguin still considers himself the hero, and that he is in the right, and that, he really does only care about his mom, and et cetera, et cetera. And every time his own life is in danger, of course he chooses himself, but that doesn't factor into any other thoughts he has.
No. And he will just keep lying and lying and lying.
But he believes
effortlessly.
it.
Yeah.
Like it's effortless because in his mind that is what he's thinking.
Yeah.
To me, that's how I feel.
His superpower is his ability to lie effortlessly and make other people believe him too.
But in so doing, he does, actually inspire, or he inspires others. Like Vic has a whole arc because of how Penguin treats him. And other things like that. Like there are debatably or arguably good things that come of Penguin's actions and behaviors, but it's a chaotic mess, and it's very human. So I dig that.
Well, look at his confidence. Look at Victor stuttered in the beginning, and he did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was more about like he was very good to Victor.
Yeah, and he killed him, but yeah, he was good until he killed him. Which is every gangster. You know what I mean? Like the thing is, like, I love that Victor died. Like if he hadn't died, I would have been very disappointed. It
would have been way too saccharine, right?
Yeah,
it would have been a very sugary ending.
A little off.
Yeah, which is like the tale as old as time, which is you live by the sword, you die by the sword, and he chose to live that way, and so he,
and he just happened to be too young and naive to not realize that, hey, this is actually going to end up killing you. But
and the way they killed him off was really, really. It's funny because I heard an interview and the guy who plays Victor said, "Oh, we didn't know how we're gonna do it. We know he was gonna like strangle him, but we didn't know how." Mm-hmm. And then he's like, Colin kind of we kind of like sat down. He's like, "What if I do this?" And then he's like, I couldn't get to him. He's like, because the actor said, I thought like, how are we gonna do this? Because like I could poke his eyes, Mm-hmm. And he's like, the way he had me was almost like a hug, and I couldn't reach his face. So like I literally couldn't. And
it's not quite it's like a side naked choke that he's doing.
Yeah, and it's also like a hug, like really like and it's really personal way of killing somebody. You know what I mean? Like you're not killing them with a weapon. You're literally killing them
slowly. It wasn't a fast death. He didn't like give.
You could have shot him and just got it over with, right? You could have just shot him and like that's the most. This sounds horrible, but the most humane way, right?
I mean, it would have been fast. It wouldn't have been him slowly realizing he should have never sided with him in the first place.
Yeah,
and like
it also
part of
me
is
far less dramatic.
It's and then he just finds his ID and tosses it in the river so no one will know it was him.
Yeah,
it's just this like brutal ending to like what would have emotionally felt really clean. It messes it all up at the end, and I love that. It's sort of just being like, this is a dirty, dirty, evil guy.
It's a good place to land for him.
Yeah. I mean, do you think his overall character is like going to be good for Gotham now that he's taken over? Like, is he a net positive?
No,
compared to the other gangs?
This is it's going to end up bad.
So he's not going to improve Crown Point at all.
No, hell no.
He might.
He got the power back
alone. Yeah, he might just do bits for the community that he considers his own. I
mean, I wonder if part of me wonders that despite the road he took to get there, he might still try to be the community gangster guy. I mean, is that a thing for him?
Well, now that he's like kind of cleaned himself up a bit at the end and associating with politicians, he's actually trying to get presumably out in the public eye to become a more likable public persona.
Yeah, he's literally got his signature tuxedo and top hat.
I hate that he didn't go once. I would have hated if he would have done it, but he never went.
I hate that he didn't, even though I would have hated
it. Yeah.
With the hat on. With the hat on and the cigarette extender. Yeah. And a monocle. But yeah, great show. I just wanted to sort of just get that off my chest. I fucking love this show. I thought it was fantastic. I feel like both of you also agree.
I want to say that Sal Maroni, I've never felt more sorry for Sal Maroni. Oh my God. The Batman character of Sal Maroni. He has never been more sympathetic.
The entire Maroni family got fucking wrecked.
They got burned and like, well, you know what's so crazy is that like, I like that. This is a little like detail that like it just helps like storytelling, which is like
food
that he shot him. Like, well, first of all, if he hadn't shot him, he would like they would have found his body and been like, well, Penguin said he killed him, and like,
well, he was yelling out a fake confrontation as he was doing it.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And he just had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Which is great. Which is so Penguin, dude. Which is so Penguin.
Yeah. And he was pissed about it. He's like, fucking heart attack.
Yeah. It's funny because I would watch the little like making ofs afterwards, you know? Like inside the episode. And every time it would surprise me, like, oh, Colin Farrell's a penguin. And I would forget. But the next time I would forget again. every Sunday I'd be like, oh, Colin Farrell's in this.
Yeah.
And it's like, no shit, dude. But that's how good of a job he does. And even though sometimes it's a little over the top, you know, it just works. It works. Oh, come on.
I have been enjoying all of the impressions people have been doing.
Yeah.
Like one thing that I thought was pretty interesting, like psychologically about the Penguin, is that just before Fran has her stroke, she does manage to get out some really some real vitriol at him. Like, I've always known you. Like I hate you. She gets to say her piece. Yeah, and also does all that. Like, she gets to do all of that, and then after the stroke, Penguin, you know, he has that breakdown where he says like, "Oh, tell me you're proud of me. Tell me that you love me, etc., etc."
Yeah,
and then he asks Vic later, like, "Do you think she'd forgive me? You know, after I got all the things she wanted. Do you think this will be enough for her?" Kind of is what he's asking.
Yeah.
And he can't get an answer, but because he just pretends that he has an answer.
Yeah, and it's all pretending, because then even during that whole sequence where she's yelling all the truths at him, he just keeps going, "You just got her confused. You got her confused. This is not
right." Right. Yeah.
He never admits it. The closest he comes to admitting it is to Victor, but then he has to kill him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
yeah. So
amazing
like
show.
that all too into that, like that hypocrisy or that infallible, I'm the hero of my story mentality.
Yeah, it's just a very well put together show. I mean, it ends on a way where I guess if they really wanted to, they could make a season 2, but I don't think it really needs it compared.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really think I want to keep watching this character's journey this closely.
Yeah, because he's so fucking despicable.
8 episodes was like good, man. Like,
yeah, and none of it felt like fat. Everything felt like really tightly done.
Like, I hope they do the original plan, which is, look, I get it. There's 2 more years before that comes out, part 2, right?
Right.
So I wouldn't hate it if they made another show, but like a Gotham PD show or something else, not the Penguin 2, you know?
But they already confirmed they're not going to do that. I think James Gunn flat out said, we're not doing that. We're sticking to the plan. So
so which is good. Like, hey, I appreciate you not like trying to shoehorn in something that's not ready. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think it's interesting. It's very clearly a product of, they were passionate about this material. Like, it's not like.
Have you seen the making of?
No, I haven't seen any of the making ofs actually.
They reached out to him, like someone. So like, the director of, I think he did Dear Zachary or Zachariah or something like that. One of them, like, it's a movie with like Margot Robbie.
Okay.
He's like a known director. He like reached out to Matt Reeves and said, "Dude, I just watched the Batman. I fucking love it. Like, anything, like, basically, like, I'll be a PA just because like I love this thing so much that you did." And he's like, "Oh, I appreciate it. Like, I actually, like, you know, we're kind of working on this thing. I don't know what it is. We want to do something like a spinoff or something." And I guess he got together with the showrunner and they kind of worked together. But it came out of like someone loving it so much that they needed to do something. Also, I want to point out that the fact that it's a female showrunner makes this thing so much better, because it paints it with like a shade that wouldn't have been the same if it was a male showrunner.
I think you wouldn't. I think in 2 aspects it would have been less nuanced. I think it's good in the set, obviously, with Sofia Falcone, aka Gigante, in that like there's a much more sympathetic light in the way she's portrayed in many things, which is, you know, I
feel like if it was a male showrunner, they would have blamed her more. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it was.
Yeah, she would have been crazier. She would have had more things wrong with her.
I saw the show succinctly described by some reviewer as all the ways women are abused to put men in power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and then the other thing is, speaking of that, is I don't think they would have been as able to lean into the Oedipal idea of it, because it would have been too icky. It's like, ooh, this is my mom. Ooh. But I think like there's room to sort of explore that more deeply when you have the female showrunners gaze about like, no, let's lean heavily into that. And it's
and it's also like paired very very intimately with rage from the mother.
Yeah.
not just an Oedipal complex, but also your mom fucking hates you.
Yeah, which is that's great. You're willing to depict that kind of relationship in a show.
Well, the truth is like that's what was so good about The Sopranos too. You know what I mean? And that's what's so good about this, is that like some people don't have a good relationship with their mother, and it leads to so like that's the cliche, right? Like if you're a girl, like if you have daddy issues, you're gonna always date the wrong guy, right?
Right.
And same thing with when you're a guy. If you have mommy issues, you're gonna have problems. Whether it's a confidence,
you're gonna go out with Eve and make her wear your mom's dress.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all in the fucking deep fucking psyche of man, right? Like there's whether she loved you too much or she didn't love you enough, it's gonna like really fucking make you go one way or another, right?
It's on a knife's edge.
Yeah.
I feel like we've brought it up enough times now that I should just note for anyone listening that I have seen maybe like a season and a half of Sopranos. So there's a lot of like context about Sopranos that is lost on me once it starts getting referenced.
Yeah.
And I've only seen the first episode. I still have.
There's a lot of issues with his mother. Let's just say that.
It looks like there would be, considering the first episode in and of itself is about him just trying to get his mom to be okay with coming to his birthday party. So, or his kid's birthday party.
But where with like The Sopranos, it's more like a combative thing. Like you never like you were like you always treat him like shit, and like it was the opposite way. You know what I mean? Like Tony used like basically the hatred kind of his mom had towards him. to be this like person. It was the opposite for the Penguin, It was his
that there was still hatred.
Yeah.
Just hidden
and willfully ignored, because
or perhaps willfully reallocated.
Because you get a sense even in the first episode where his mom shows up, you get this sense
she's
of like,
kind of used to manipulating him.
And she clearly doesn't really like him. Like there's a part of him that she finds like really like despicable.
Like you start to get the sense that she might have also just been viewing him as like, well, he's the meal ticket that might cash out one day.
Yeah.
If I berate him enough.
Yeah. So, that's that was the show.
Such is life.
I'm looking forward to more of something else in the universe, but I don't think the Penguin itself needs to continue as a show. I think it ended perfectly. Yeah.
Like now I'm afraid of how I'll like Batman 2, given like what else of this world I've been exposed to, because it'll start feeling disparate to me, I think.
Now I want to see the Batman. I want to see how different it is, because it's probably tonally a little different.
Yeah, it is.
But thanks for listening, everybody, to this really kind of a quick recap of the Penguin when we watched it. Just was really cool. If you guys liked it, just give us a like or review wherever you are. And next time on Would You Stay Tuned, we're gonna watch Utopia. That's what Ricardo wanted us to watch. It's his turn to choose the show, and I know nothing about Utopia at all. I don't even know what it's about. I just saw a yellow poster when I looked it up.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see what it'll even be.
How old is that show? How old is Utopia?
It's got to be at least like 10, 15 years.
I think I remember. Did it say 2014?
Something like that. Yeah. I think that date sounds about right. Yeah.
So they try to remake it.
Yeah, 13 or 14.
I'll leave this as a spoiler. So there was two seasons or 3 seasons?
2 seasons.
2 seasons. And there was supposed to be a third, but then David Fincher said, I want to do American remake of this.
Oh.
So they stopped working on the British one. because they're like, oh, let's just let Fincher take the last season, like basically like redo the first 2 seasons, and then like the plan for the third, we'll just give it to him, and he'll finish
Oh,
it
wow.
in the American version.
Oh,
Okay.
weird.
And then like all David Fincher projects, it fell through.
Aw, that's too bad for them.
So they
Yeah,
fucked up
but-
their own show.
But
Aw.
Hulu tried to do it. I know Hulu or Amazon. I think it was Amazon. They tried to do it and they did a season, but it just wasn't. It didn't hit like the fucking UK one, you know?
All right. Well, that's what we'll be watching next week. So stay tuned, everybody, for the next episode of Would You Stay Tuned. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye.
See you later.
Keep listening.
Never stop.
Would you keep listening?
Goodbye, everybody. Bye.